As spring continues to head into summer, tensions on the track are continuing to heat up among drivers, and line games are going to be at their max here in the Coca-Cola 600 this weekend. Typically dubbed the greatest day in motorsports history because of three races: Monaco in the morning, the Indy 500 at lunch, and the Coca-Cola 600 around dinner time. As it's a very special race to itself due to its significance on Memorial Day weekend. There will be a tribute from laps 45 to 55 tonight to honor those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice, defending the freedoms that I'd argue many of us hold or take for granted. During our qualifying lap here at Charlotte Motor Speedway is one of the fastest ovals on the Winston Cup circuit. As you can see, we're developing speeds of 190 miles an hour. I did try a different setup for this race. You're coming out of turn 4, coming to the green flag. You're going to be pulling at least 175 miles an hour, as that first lap got us in ninth. Then immediately we're going to arc it down to the bottom off of turn 2. You can see we are driving a special paint scheme for this race, dubbed the Flame of Liberty. We come out of turn 4, and we are very loose. This will put us ninth. Definitely a solid lap for us. Last time out at Darlington, Jeff Burton was the most recent driver to punch his ticket into the Winston Cup playoffs off of a late caution. Ryan Newman and Jeff Gordon tried to catch him.
Welcome everyone to Charlotte, North Carolina. It's time once again for the running of the Coca-Cola Racing Family 600 here at Lowe's Motor Speedway. And MRN is here to bring you all the action. Barney, this is a hometown crowd for a lot of these drivers.
A lot of these teams are based in this area. This is a 2,000-acre dream come true for any NASCAR fan. I don't think there's a bad seat anywhere in the place. There's always great racing to go along with it.
The Coca-Cola car will try to use this race to gain a couple spots in the points.
I had a chance to talk to him this morning, and he's looking forward to this race. He feels they have a very strong car that can pick up some more points this week. We'll keep an eye on him.
Shawna Robinson hasn't performed well at the Speedway tracks this season.
And a good finish would go a long way in boosting that team's morale. I guarantee it would make a whole lot easier to play these racetracks.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
And here's the starting lineup for the race. Starting out front are the DuPont Chevrolet and the Mark Martin Ford. Starting in row 2 will be the Dodge dealers UAW Dodge and the Caterpillar Dodge. In row 3 are the Interstate Batteries Pontiac and the Pennzoil Chevrolet. In row 4 are the M&M's Pontiac and the Ganassi Racing Dodge. Rounding out the top 10 starting spots are the Coca-Cola car and the Valvoline Pontiac. The 6th row has the Avalon Ford and the Dale Jr. Chevrolet. In row 7 are the Lowe's Chevrolet and the GM Goodrich Service Plus Chevrolet. Starting the race from row 8 are the DeWalt Power Tools Ford and the Napa Auto Parts Chevrolet. And in row 9 are the Home Depot Pontiac and the Target Dodge. Jeff Burton, the NASCAR Winston Cup points leader, will start towards the front. Starting the race from row 11 are the BAM Racing Dodge and the UPS Ford. The 12th row has the Altel Ford and the 37 car. Starting the race from row 13 will be the 9 car and the Rubbermaid Ford. Row 14 we have the Cheerios Dodge and the Singular Wireless Chevrolet. Starting from row 15 will be the Team Rusty Ford and the Motorcraft Ford. In the 16th row are the 98 car and the 26 car. In the 17th row are the Square D Chevrolet and the Tide Ford. In the 18th row are the 46 car and the Kodak Chevrolet. Starting the race from row 19 are the 45 car and the 63 car. The 20th row has the Sirius Satellite Radio Dodge and the UAW Delphi Chevrolet. Starting the race from row 21 will be the America Online Chevrolet and the 27 car. And finally, starting from the rear of the field will be the 16 car.
There's your starting lineup for the Coca-Cola 600. Jeff Gordon won the pole Thursday night in qualifying. It's the longest race on the Winston Cup circuit. 600 miles. Tonight, that's 100 laps. It's going to be a mental game for these drivers. Not just keeping their car intact, but keeping themselves intact as well. I want to give a shout out to Ken Schrader for a solid top 10 qualifying run. And the one of Steve Park. As we look through the rest of the field. Pace car is off. NASCAR's longest night is underway. Blistering fast speeds here at the Lowe's Motor Speedway make this track one of the fastest on the Winston Cup circuit, as Jeff Gordon has already checked out with the 6 of Mark Martin behind him. Mark Martin is currently the regular season points leader and the highest in points up to this point without a win. Dylan Murway underneath Schrader for 7th, or 6th, I should say. For 3 and 4, Dylan's trying to sneak underneath Bobby Labonte. He's got a fast setup that they put in during the Thursday practice before qualifying, and let's just say it worked. He definitely needed, wow, big moment. Ooh, Burton into the wall. Ward Burton hard hit. Came out in turn 2. There was a setup that Dylan Murway put into his car during the lone Thursday practice session before qualifying that night. It made it fast, but it also made it really, really loose. He goes through wide on Michael Waltrip and Jeremy Mayfield in the 19. He's going to get those two, and he's going to set his sights on the 28 of Ricky Rudd. Gordon and Martin have broken away. As the top 5 sits right now, Jeff Gordon, Mark Martin, Dylan Murway, Ricky Rudd, and the 15 of Michael Waltrip. Early on in this one, we would like to remind you tomorrow night, or tomorrow afternoon on Memorial Day, there will be the third annual Memorial Day Bash live event performed on WWE 2K20 and 2K22. The matchups to look out for is Roman Reigns will defend his undisputed championship against the Ultimate Wildman. Plus, the man Becky Lynch looks to put an end to the Stratusfaction Revolution as Becky Lynch will take on Trish Stratus. And two big men will face off for the first time ever in Big E and Kevin Nash tomorrow, 2:30 p.m. Jeff Gordon and Mark Martin have proved themselves to be the class of the field right now as they are gone heading into turns 1 and 2 by 2 full seconds over the 83. As you can tell, he's really wrestling with that car. And yet he still has amazing drive-off speed. It's not even lap 7. You can see a little bit of wear on the tires because he's sawing on it so much. Oh, wow. Got loose off the back of the 28. Rudd loses about a half a second at the line. Eight laps complete here in the Coca-Cola 600. You can tell this race is known also for, outside it being so long, and starting later in the afternoon when they put lights at the Lowe's Motor Speedway in 1992. This track starts late afternoon, early evening, so there's sun out. The track is going to be hot and slick. But as the sun sets and as the night goes on, the track's going to start getting cooler and you're going to start to see different guys march up to the front. So the top 3 right now, there's a pretty good chance that could look very different at the end of the night. Dillon gains about 3/10 on that one as he comes through turns 1 and 2. Coming through 3 and 4 again. Looks like everybody's pretty much settled down. There's some cars that are at the back by about 9 or so seconds. They've started to split off from this middle pack as the top 2 have pretty much never gotten away from each other. Martin looks to the inside of Jeff going down the back. Coming through 3 and 4. And at the line, oh, now it's 1/6 of a second. He is currently the fastest car on the racetrack, which is another thing too. You overexert yourself and use up your equipment early, there's a good chance you might not have anything left at the end of the night when it comes down to it. And everything's worn down, drivers are worn down, mentally frustrated. It's one of those, you got to be smart when you use your equipment at this track, otherwise it could end badly. Now it's 1 second back. He gained 2/10 that lap. You can see a black and blue Ford and a red and blue Chevrolet. Back into 3 and 4. Dillon's starting to change his lineup a little bit just so he can get some extra clothes off. Coming to the line now, it's 0.6 of a second back from Jeff Gordon. Ricky Rudd is in 4th. Now the field's really starting to split off into groups as we've completed a little over 13 laps now. It's going to be 14 in the line. Dillon looks under the 6 of Mark Martin. He's going to get this position without much effort. He's going to set his sights on the 24, Jeff Gordon. Coming out of turn 4, getting to the line. Dylan is there. He looks underneath the 24. And he's going to have the lead in 1 and 2. He's got it. You move Dylan Murway to the point here. Gordon had to get out of the gas to avoid turning the 83 into the wall. And Jeff falls to third. Mark Martin trying to get the lead. He goes in pretty deep. Takes it back. Martin is all over the back bumper of that 83. So they're coming through turn 2. 16 laps complete here in the Coca-Cola 600. Weird editing there. Gordon still looking all over the back bumper of that 83. This time Gordon got a huge... Whoa, Dylan very loose in the tri-oval. As Mark Martin tried getting him arrow loose going into there. Gordon got loose. Now Gordon's going backwards. Jeff Gordon led the opening 14 laps tonight. Dylan Murway took over, and he is taking off and starting to set sail with Mark Martin staying hot on his heels. And Dylan let the inside up, and Mark Martin's going to pull... Oh, contact. Big contact. Oh, Dylan almost clobbered the wall. Sterling Marlin has made his way up to 5th. Coming through 1 and 2. We have completed almost 20% of this race up to this point. Dylan moves to the high side. Oh, contact. Martin almost turned him again. He was not happy after getting chopped there in the trial. And nearly sent into that dogleg wall hard. Everybody straightens themselves out. Now Gordon looks to the inside. Dylan is going to protect the position. Gordon almost clips the flat. Now here comes the 28 of Ricky Rudd, bringing Marlin with him. Oh, wow. Dylan is wicked loose. You can tell because he turned and just gunned it through the grass there. Coming through 1 and 2. Now here comes Ricky Rudd to the point. You can move him to the lead here in the Coke 600. And here comes Dylan screaming on the radio to fix his car. So we got 2 Fords and almost 2 Chevrolets in the top 5. Tony Stewart has taken 4th from Jeff Gordon. As Dylan arced it in deep, almost turns Mark Martin again. And here comes Tony to try to pass. Tony Stewart completed 1,100 miles twice in a tradition that some drivers attempt called the Indy Double, which means they usually enter a car in the Indianapolis 500 and then complete the race, fly all the way over to Charlotte, and try to complete 600 miles. Tony Stewart did that twice, both in his rookie year in '99 and this past year in 2001. He was 3rd to, I believe, Kevin Harvick and Jeff Burton. Remember what I was saying about comers and goers? Ricky Rudd is now your new leader. Dylan is there. He's closing up on the 28. Side by side through 1 and 2. Rudd gets the advantage off. Then through 3 and 4 again. Now Dylan's pulling away from Rudd, and it's just been the theme most of the night. You get 2 fast cars that are up front trying to run away with it, and then you got cars behind that are back by at least a second off. turn 4. We're about to complete almost a quarter of this race up to this point. You can tell the sun is starting to set. The track conditions are starting to change. Dillon looks to the inside of Rudd. He's going to charge it into turn 1 and take the lead back. Put the 83. Whoa, Rudd with a crossover. It wasn't really a crossover. It was more of a... I almost spun and I had to catch it. Coming through 3 and 4 again. Rudd looking to the inside of Dillon, trying to take the lead. Mark is in 3rd. Tony Stewart 4th, and Matt Kenseth is rounding out the top 5. And Dillon's got 2 lanes of traffic to cover. Dillon goes up. You can already tell his tires are starting to wear. That's usually what happens when you wear your equipment out that early. And, oh, sideways in the front stretch. Dillon almost around. Amazingly, that wasn't a caution. And that was off the front bumper of Ricky Rudd. Really surprised race control didn't wave a yellow. And look at all the positions he just lost. Went from the lead to 33rd. And possibly 34th when Biffle gets by him, all in the span of 1 moment. Now, stuff like that, you just gotta, shake it off, regroup, and where your crew chief's driving, tell him, hey, it was just an accident. He came in you on the front stretch. Just shake it off, get right, and then come back up through the field. But yeah, Dillon is not happy. Let's listen in. And we heard on the radio that says, NASCAR, I hope you're listening to this. I will pay Ricky Rudd back for that one. And he also said some words that were not suited for TV. Directed to race control as well. I mean, that should have been a caution too, because he came to a stop briefly, and if he would have slid up into traffic, that would have been a bad wreck on the front stretch. As in, he could have been hurt, other people could have been hurt in that accident, because they were barreling at him at least 180 miles an hour, and you got a car sliding to a stop on the front stretch. Dylan Murway trying to set his sights on Robbie Gordon, push him past the 45. 3 wide there, get a couple positions. Say Robbie Gordon is a bit of a favorite in the upcoming weeks as we head to Sonoma at the end of June. That's a road course. He had a solid run at Texas at March, or the Texas Roval. And we got Watkins Glen doubleheader again. We got the Daytona Roval before the Pepsi 400. That could be his biggest shot outside of the super speedways. "31 laps complete in the Coca-Cola 600. Ricky Rudd, as of right now, is your race leader. So they came down the backstretch, got the 49 and Shauna Robinson in front of him in the 83. Only major moment of this race so far is Dylan Murway's crazy slide through the grass. That nearly ended in disaster, to say the least. When the lap counter ticks to 45 tonight, there will be a 10-lap moment of silence to honor those who have given so much to this country. It will last from 45 to lap 55, so it will be all the way through green flag pit stops. And you can tell Dylan is wicked loose. He went to turn one and that car started to come around on him. That is not doing any help to his tires at all. And I mean, wow. Almost wadded 2 cars up right there. He's got John Andretti and the 22 Ward Burton back there. That was after the crash behind them. Ward Burton got the wall. And Terry Labonte almost plowed into him. We do have a car on pit road with the hood up. We'll get to that here in a minute. Coming through 4 again. Time for a NASCAR on Fox. Crank it up. We have completed nearly 4/10 of the Coca-Cola 600 as the sun is really starting to set here in the distance. The lights this track is pretty much completely lit up at this point. Got Dylan Murway trying to set his sights on a couple cars. Purvis 37 and Craven in the 32. Got by both of those cars. Purvis got a little sideways after contact, but no further incident. Another thing to note too, this is probably a very brutal stretch for these drivers. Normally they have 1, 2, maybe 3 early cautions. They have ran 40 laps at this point, caution free, which is tiring. Because at this point, it's almost 300 miles in the race. Well, close to that. It's more like 225 if you want to get exact. So you're going left, you're making all those turns, time's starting to tick away, and it's probably doing a number on your body physically. So after this race, if they don't get a caution at some point, drivers are going to be tired. "42 laps complete here in the Coca-Cola 600. You saw briefly on the pot when I checked, Sterling Marlin was able to get ahead and get by the 28 of Rudd. Got 4 cars up ahead. Jarrett, Benson, and Newman, being led by the two of Rusty Wallace. Out through 1 and 2. And Dylan's going to get by Rusty. It's been very methodical for the 83 to come back from sliding all the way to 34th after that skid through the grass. That should have been a caution, arguably. Coming back through 1 and 2. They are getting close to pit stops now. As in just a few moments, we will step away for a 10-lap moment of silence. All you hear are the cars as we thank those who have made the sacrifice to protect freedom.
Come in for some gas. Everything okay with the car?
There's a reason I changed my paint scheme to something I like to call the Flame of Liberty. As we have lived the 3 words, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Even though this country is not the best place right now, we will always have those 3 words, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, from the Declaration of Independence. Anyways, back here to the race. We have completed green flag pit stops up to this point. I did not get a chance to see who was on pit road. We are currently in a battle with the 43 of John Andretti. Can't quite get by him until now. Oh, wicked loose. Had to really get out of the gas because we have slid to the apron I don't know how many times in this race, especially in the last 20 laps. As this is usually the time of the race where track's going to really start changing. Get by the 43 of Andretti. Battle with him in the 30 car. You got 36 of Schrader out there, so we got a 4-car battle as you briefly get a glance at the top 5. 59 laps complete here in the Coca-Cola 600, so we are about 60% of this race done. So if anything were to happen, rain, snow, anything like that to end the race, it would be considered official, and we would send Sterling Marlin to victory lane for his first win of the year. Unusually this season, it hasn't really been a Dodge season. They had that last win at Homestead, November 2001, with that battle between Bill Elliott and Casey Atwood in the 19, both of which were both teammates at the time. That was Dodge's last win. So far, the only driver to really carry the torch for Dodge this year has been the 40th Sterling Marlin, who is, as of right now, second highest in points. .61 laps complete. Dylan got loose really hard. Had to get out of the gas to avoid running into the 30 of Jeff Green. And it caught back up to him. Dylan into the wall hard. Wow. That is some hard contact. Coming through 3 and 4. Dylan Norway in a battle with John Andretti for 19th. More contact there. Had to really get out of the gas. I can't tell if he's looking for an opportunity to get back in there because he knows he's got a car. He's looking for, at this point, his best bet would be just wait for an opportunity. And then go to the outside of Andretti. Contact again. Oh, wow. More contact. Major contact as Andretti gets tipped into the wall. .64 laps complete. You saw there as well, Tony Stewart is battling with Sterling Marlin for the lead. Earnhardt Jr. His car's really come to life in the second half as well. Rudd got shuffled out along with the 97. So, I'm sorry, Junior has fallen to 5th. He's in a pretty heated battle with Jeff Gordon and Matt Kenseth. As we're going to take a glance at the top 10. Jimmy Johnson with a solid run inside 6th for his first Coke 600 appearance. Pretty solid. As we look through the rest of the field, and take a look at the rest of the cars who are on the lead lap. So we have 26, with Robbie Gordon being the last one. And the car that fell out of the race, there are 3 of them. Wow. Mark Martin had an early problem. I didn't see him. Jarrett had to go behind the wall, and Kyle Petty also retired from the race. So we're down to 40, all of which were mechanical problems. Brings me to what I was saying earlier about this being NASCAR's longest race, which means equipment's going to wear, cars are going to wear, drivers are going to wear out, which leads to mistakes. And that's the joys of racing this event. We would like to remind you, out of the Winston 5, Dylan Norway was in the top 5 at the last one at Talladega. At Richmond, he won that event after being in the top 5 at Talladega a couple weeks before that, as he's about to wreck with Ricky Craven on the backstretch. Ooh, yeah, he wrecked big. Robbie Gordon just plowed into him. He is dragging that. It might be a caution in the next couple laps because he's dragging parts everywhere. He has fallen to 26th, 27th now. Oh, yeah, 26th. Nadeau into the wall. A lot of debris. Parts might be going to fall off here off of a couple cars. At least Nadeau in the 25 with some damage. Murway in the 83. Sadler looking on the inside of Mayfield as crash. Turn 4, Nadeau, Sadler, and Murway. Cautions out.
There will be a lot of bonus points awarded for all the drivers who led a lap.
Yeah, all those guys led laps, but the only one that really matters is the last one. It's kind of a save the best for last type deal.
The 83 car didn't finish where he had hoped, due in part to the damage on his car, I'm sure.
You know, some of these teams have multiple cars, and a race like this won't set them back too far. It's the guys who have only 1 or 2 cars that suffer the most. But hey, it'll make you learn to take care of your car in a hurry.
From all of us here at EA Sports and MRN, we hope you enjoyed tonight's race. So long, we'll see you next week at the Dover International Speedway.
So that was definitely a game changer. As we saw, Biffle got a piece of that. And Bobby Hamilton in the 55. And I think Mayfield got clipped as well. So here's how the top 10 looks now. Casey Kane somehow won this race. After that caution, basically flipped everything on its head. Shauna Robinson, Ward Burton, Elliott Sadler, who was in the crash, ends up 4th. Frank Kimmel, Shane Hall, top in 6th. Awesome run for him. Mike Skinner, Jamie McMurray, Ken Schrader with a nice top 10 run. And Jeff Purvis rounds out the top 10. So the entire top 5 that you saw there are going to qualify for the Winston Noble at Daytona in August. So we have 5 drivers that fell out. Nadu was the only one involved. He punctured a tire in that accident. And a lot of cars somehow got on the lead lap. Look at this. Gordon, after leading 15 laps tonight, ends up 24th. Earnhardt Jr. led a little bit out front. Sterling Marlin led the most. This whole race fell on its head. 43 lead changes among 21 drivers. That is unheard of at this place. Well, let's see how the things shake out as we look at post-race awards from Lowe's. See if Casey Kane and Ken Schrader can use this win to get into the playoffs. They haven't really had the best of seasons. Schrader had that top 10 run in this race, so we'll see how his results shake out. Jeff Burton is now the new regular season points leader after his win at Darlington. So as we look through, as we start getting towards maybe the end of June, beginning of July, we're going to really start bringing that into question. So Schrader is 37th and Casey Kane is 42nd. Both of their wins, if they want to get into the playoffs and make the grid 9 drivers instead of 7, they're going to need to start getting a lot of help, because you have to be in the top 30 to qualify for the Winston Cup playoffs if you have a win. So here are the awards. Ken Schrader had the fastest lap. Casey Kane was the best rookie. Kevin Harvick had the best pass. Sterling Marlin is the Gatorade frontrunner. Jamie McMurray is all charged up and passed the most cars. So Jimmy Johnson is now the Rookie of the Year points leader. Ten drivers have won poles this year. The top 5 from this race have qualified for the Winston Noble. If one of the drivers wins that race, some of them need it to get in the playoffs, they will qualify for the playoffs, get $1 million, and a lucky fan becomes a millionaire. Dylan Murway is now the new lap champion leader. Next Sunday at 12:30, we're going to Dover. See you then.